Throughout our lives, many of us find ourselves relentlessly striving to fit in, seeking approval from others, and shaping our identities according to expectations that do not even originate from within us. We spend countless hours in search of validation, paralyzed by the fear of judgment, and allowing the opinions of others to dictate our self-worth. The question that arises from this ceaseless pursuit is simple. What if everything we've been taught about caring too much is holding us back? What if true happiness, confidence, and success do not come from controlling every aspect of life, but from letting go? Michel de Montaigne, a philosopher far ahead of his time, delved deeply into this paradox. His insights offer a guiding light for understanding how to achieve inner freedom, self-acceptance, and the art of living without carrying unnecessary burdens. Montaigne's philosophy challenges the very foundations of what we often believe about identity, success, and societal pressures. By the end of this reflection, we will explore why the moment you stop seeking external validation, your life begins to fall into place. Take a moment to consider how much of your stress and frustration arises from trying to meet expectations that were never yours in the first place. How often do you hold back because you are afraid of judgment? How much of your energy is spent worrying about things that, in the grand scheme of life, hold little significance? Montaigne's philosophy sheds light on a simple yet profound truth. The more we relinquish the pressure of external expectations, the more we align with our authentic selves. Montaigne, in his time, recognized that life is inherently unpredictable, that perfection is an illusion, and that true wisdom lies in self-acceptance. The misunderstanding most people have is that not caring means indifference, laziness, or a lack of motivation. On the contrary, Montaigne's view of not caring is not about withdrawing from life or ignoring responsibilities. It is about freeing oneself from the unending need for approval, the crippling fear of rejection, and the exhausting habit of overanalyzing every action. It is about living on your own terms, being present in the moment, and understanding that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. Montaigne spent much of his life observing the nature of human behavior, noticing that many people are prisoners of their own minds, trapped in endless cycles of worry, self-doubt, and insecurity. He questioned why we let the opinions of others shape our decisions, why we cling to control when life is uncertain, and why we chase success as defined by others. But most importantly, he asked what would happen if we simply stopped caring about these things. When you cease caring about being perfect, you begin to embrace your flaws. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, you begin to live for yourself. When you stop trying to control everything, you create space for life to unfold naturally. Here's the paradox. The less you care about proving yourself, the more powerful you become. Think about the most confident, charismatic individuals you've encountered. Are they the ones constantly seeking approval, over-explaining themselves, and trying to be liked by everyone? Or are they the ones who seem at ease, unbothered by trivial worries, and unapologetically themselves? Montaigne grasped this truth long before modern psychology affirmed it. People are drawn to authenticity. When you stop seeking validation, when you embrace your imperfections and trust yourself, you naturally become more attractive, not just socially, but in every aspect of life. The moment you detach from the fear of failure or judgment, you gain something even more valuable: freedom. The freedom to take risks without overthinking. The freedom to express yourself without hesitation. The freedom to simply exist without constantly measuring your worth against the standards of others. This is where Montaigne's wisdom truly shines. When we let go of unnecessary worries, not only do we find peace, but our lives begin to improve. Relationships become more genuine, opportunities arise naturally, and decisions become easier because they are based on what we truly want, not what we think we should want. Montaigne understood that most of our suffering comes from resisting reality, from trying to force life into a mold that doesn't fit. But when we release that resistance, everything begins to align. Reflect on how often you hesitate to speak your mind because of fear of judgment. How often do you replay past conversations, worrying about how you were perceived? How much of your life has been shaped by expectations that were never truly yours? Montaigne invites us to step away from these self-imposed limitations. He challenges us to embrace uncertainty, accept imperfection, and stop allowing fear to dictate our choices. His philosophy is not just an abstract idea. It is a practical guide to transforming the way we experience life. So, what happens when we fully embrace this mindset? What changes when we stop chasing approval, worrying about every possible outcome, and allowing fear to control our actions? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that most of the pressures weighing you down were never real to begin with. That the rules you've been following, the expectations you've been trying to meet, and the fears that have kept you stuck were all illusions created by societal conditioning and your own mind. Montaigne recognized that human beings are naturally anxious. We overthink, try to predict the future, and struggle against the unknown. But he also proposed that perhaps happiness is not about solving every problem but surrendering to the fact that some things are simply out of our control. One of Montaigne's most profound lessons is this: the world will never fully understand you, and that's perfectly okay. Think about how often we waste energy trying to explain ourselves, justify our choices, or prove our worth to people who may never truly see us. We hold back our true opinions to avoid conflict. We suppress our desires to fit in. We seek approval from others when the only approval that truly matters is our own. Montaigne observed that much of our suffering stems from caring too much about things that do not serve us. We often tie ourselves in knots over petty concerns, holding on to grudges, fears, and insecurities that ultimately add no value to our lives. Yet when we step back, we realize that most of these worries are insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop obsessing over a problem, a solution appears naturally? Or that when you stop chasing someone's attention, they suddenly become more interested? This is no coincidence. It is a reflection of a deeper truth. When you let go, life flows. The challenge, however, lies in embracing this concept fully. Most people resist it because they believe that if they stop caring, they will lose their drive or motivation. They misunderstand the concept of not caring. It does not equate to apathy. Rather, it means focusing your energy on what truly matters and freeing yourself from the weight of unnecessary burdens. Montaigne encouraged us to embrace imperfection, not only in ourselves but in the world around us. He understood that striving for absolute control is an exhausting, never-ending battle. Life is inherently unpredictable, and no matter how much we try to plan, prepare, or manipulate outcomes, there will always be elements beyond our control. So why not surrender to this truth? Why not accept that mistakes, failures, and uncertainties are simply part of existence? Consider how much lighter you would feel if you stopped trying to control every detail of your life. If you stopped overanalyzing every decision. If you stopped fearing failure and instead saw it as just another step in your journey. Montaigne reminds us that every great thinker, leader, and artist in history faced failure, rejection, and misunderstanding. Yet, they did not let these experiences define them. They moved forward, unbothered by the opinions of others, because they understood that true success is not found in external validation. It is found in living authentically. Now, think about those who seem to thrive effortlessly while others struggle, despite working tirelessly. The difference often lies in mindset. Those who succeed understand that detachment from unnecessary worries allows them to focus on what truly matters. Montaigne's wisdom teaches us that the more we release, the more we gain. When we stop fearing failure, we take more risks. When we stop seeking approval, we become more authentic. When we stop trying to control everything, we allow space for unexpected opportunities to arise. This is why Montaigne's philosophy, when applied correctly, is not about giving up, but about gaining freedom. It's about choosing where to direct your energy, focusing only on what brings meaning to your life, and refusing to be held back by distractions that add no real value. Ask yourself, how much of your stress comes from worrying about what others think? How many times have you hesitated to pursue something because of fear of judgment? How often have you replayed past mistakes as if punishing yourself could somehow change the outcome? Montaigne's approach liberates us from these mental chains. He reminds us that the past is gone, the future is uncertain, and the only thing we truly own is the present moment. When you fully embrace this truth, everything begins to shift. But there is still more to uncover. In the next part, we will explore how detachment, far from leading to isolation, actually creates deeper, more meaningful connections with others. There is a strange paradox in life. The moment you stop needing something, it often comes to you effortlessly. When you stop chasing approval, people respect you more. When you stop fearing failure, opportunities arise. When you stop trying to control everything, life begins to flow in ways you never expected. So, if detachment is so powerful, why do most people struggle to embrace it? The answer is simple: fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of failure. Fear of what might happen if we stop micromanaging every aspect of our lives. Society has conditioned us to believe that control equals security. We've been taught that if we try hard enough, plan carefully enough, and worry intensely enough, we can shape the world to our liking. But Montaigne reminds us that this is an illusion. No amount of control can eliminate uncertainty. No amount of planning can prevent the unexpected. No amount of worrying can change reality. Instead of resisting life, Montaigne invites us to embrace it exactly as it is, with all its unpredictability, imperfection, and chaos. Think about your relationships. How many conflicts arise because of unmet expectations? How much suffering is caused by the desire to control the actions and emotions of others? Montaigne understood that true connection is not about control. It's about acceptance. The more we allow others to be themselves without trying to change them or force them into our expectations, the deeper and more genuine our relationships become. So, the key question remains: what are you holding onto that no longer serves you? What expectations, fears, or attachments are weighing you down? What would your life look like if you simply trusted that things will fall into place? Montaigne's philosophy teaches us that by letting go of unnecessary worries, we gain clarity. By releasing control, we gain freedom. And by embracing uncertainty, we gain a life of deeper meaning and fulfillment. This is the true power of Montaigne's wisdom. Thank you for accompanying. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below so we can discuss. Wish you and your family good health.